No TV show is completely consistent. Even the greatest shows of all time vary in quality, at least a little bit. I know that's a pessimistic way to look at things, but it's true that we're inevitably going to start talking about episodes I seriously don't like. As you can probably tell, I wasn't a fan of this episode when I originally watched it. In fact, I thought it was incredibly annoying, and it morphed my opinion of Tuck for the episodes that come after this one. I was actually planning on talking about this episode before we committed to talking about every episode in the show. This is because a couple years ago, a fan of the show explicitly asked me to talk about it because it's their favorite episode. Their opinion isn't invalidated by mine in any way. You're not wrong for enjoying something, even if it is critically panned. Don't base your opinions off mine, but I will tell you what I think about this episode regardless. Who knows, I might even end up enjoying it. The episode opens with a man climbing an incredibly tall mountain just to get harassed by a bird. He successfully scares off the bird, but once he reaches the top, he gets hit with instant karma. There are dozens of birds waiting for him, and they spook him off the ledge. Nora's monitor instantly detects that someone is in danger, and Jenny blasts off to his rescue. This does confirm that she wasn't stalking the junkyard in The Great Unwashed. I guess there's a Starlink level array of satellites in the sky which alert Jenny when anyone is in trouble. Is Nora using these satellites for other reasons? I mean, if she can detect that someone is falling, she should be able to detect the current location of, say, world leaders. Could she be spying on the world? I know, it's a cartoon. You probably don't care about the logic of Nora's crisis detecting abilities, so I'll move on. Just know that the fanbase theory is looking more likely in each passing episode. As soon as Jenny reaches the mountain to save the man, she hears Tuck calling her name back in Tremerton. Even though Jenny could swoop up and rescue the man in a matter of milliseconds, she flies back to save Tuck instead. Obviously, Jenny would value Tuck's life over this man's, but goddamn! He's just calling her name, it didn't even sound like there was distress in his voice. Once Jenny actually reaches Tuck, it becomes pretty obvious that he was never in any danger. Look at his smug face. It turns out that Tuck just wanted to introduce Jenny to his friends. A little kid would definitely want to show off a real-life robot, so it makes sense for him to do something like this. He was trying to one-up another kid who acts like that kid who used to try to bite you in elementary school. This kid apparently has a pretty cool wolf with huge teeth and
the big yellow eyes and horrible sharp claws.
And a blood-curdling howl that pierces the night air like an assassin's dagger.
You know, this kid kinda sounds familiar to me. I wonder if I know him from something else. Oh my god, he's the English voice of Haku from Spirited Away? He's Max Goo from a Goofy movie? And Chester from The Fairly OddParents? I've gotta stop doing that. We're going off the rails with this retrospective. I can hardly keep my focus on the episode itself. Jenny is flattered that Tuck thinks that she's cool enough to show off to friends, but she scolds him for abusing her distress signal. She then remembers that she was in the middle of saving a man from becoming human silly putty. So she heads back. But would she actually have time to go and save him? Well, if we assume she got the warning as soon as the man started falling, she took 2 minutes and 22 seconds to save him. The tallest mountain in the world is Mount Everest, and according to my totally reputable source, Quora, it would take someone less than 14 seconds to fall from the peak to the lowest point. And in the show, we see the climber falling at an incredibly fast rate, even on the monitor. We don't get to see the entire mountain on the monitor, but at the rate he's falling, it's looking like he's done for. Give me a second as I adjust my Scott the Woz patented V card as I pick apart more and more cartoon logic. Don't worry, the show is on your side. Jenny saves the man just in the nick of time. Unfortunately for the man, the birds attack him as soon as Jenny leaves, and we never see him again. Hold up everyone, we found something to talk about. Jenny is in an iconic pose in this scene. I wonder why this particular pose resonated with fans so much. Pretty cool, eh? No, please don't. I'm doing the best with what I got here, alright? Jenny heads off to save another town from impending disaster. A dam is about to break and Jenny is the only one who can patch it up and save the day. Evidently not. Jenny hears Tuck cry out for help again, so she puts the fate of an entire town in the hands of a little kid. Literally. And what do you know? It was another trick. Tuck has an audience of people who want to see Jenny's powers. He still wants to prove that Jenny is cooler than his friend's wolf. She wasn't interested in pleasing his friends, so she blasts off again. just for him to call for her a third time. She examines him to see if he's got any broken bones or leaking bodily fluids in frustration, threatening him in the process. Oh, but he is hurt. He has a splinter, and he acts like an entitled asshole telling her that if she doesn't help, she doesn't care about his pain. He goes on to ask when he'll ever get to see her if she's always out saving the world, and goes as far as to question if she even wants to have friends. He puts words in her mouth, strong-arming her into using a giant tweezer attachment to remove the splinter. Jenny makes it clear to Tuck that he should only call for her when he needs help, but he already exposed her inability to say no. Cue the annoying help montage. This does show off some pretty cool powers, but it's frustrating to watch Jenny's expression transition from being annoyed to being sad and hopeless. It becomes so much that when Brad sees her and says hi, she screams at him so loud that he gets blown out of place. Jenny tells Brad about Tuck using their friendship against her. It reminds Brad of a story, and the coincidence mobile shows up to save the day. This is probably my favorite gag in the episode. The bookmobile shows up just as Brad mentions the story. I mean, how ridiculous is the concept of a vehicular bookstore? And that's not even the best part. A little girl asked for the history of electrolysis, and the saleswoman just so happens to be holding that exact book. She went to grab the Dunderhead's Guide to Idiocy from my boy Billy. So the animators weren't being lazy, it had to have been an intentional joke. Then Ed asked for The Catcher in the Rye, and the saleswoman wasn't having it. There's a whole ordeal with that book, I recommend looking into it. It makes the joke much funnier, but it might make the video age-restricted-ier. Well, the show pulls a funny and shatters the fourth wall, acknowledging the book that it's named after. Jenny eventually wises up to Tuck's scheme and stops responding to his cries. Unfortunately, the creepy kid uses this opportunity to bring out the wolf. What good timing. The moonlight will help Tuck see the wolf even better. Tuck cries out for help, but she ignores him. He actually cries wolf, which Jenny mocks as the quote from the actual book. Hey, there's no way The Boy Who Cried Wolf has that many pages, right? Is this the extended edition or something? That can't be it. It ends in the middle. Anyways, Jenny takes the end of the book as a cue to fly to Tuck's rescue, much to Brad's disappointment. Huh. It looks like Jenny can regrow limbs in this episode. That would have been useful in other episodes. Oh, looks like the kid just had a normal dog and he was licking Tuck. In response, Jenny attacks Tuck using her laser vision. Good on her. And that's how the episode ends. You may have noticed that we went off track and ignored the episode for a big chunk of this video. That's because... This is...
What? This is boring. Delete.
Yeah, this episode is frustrating. I found it so boring to write about that I decided it was much more fun to talk about the fucking bookmobile scene. I mean, come on, man. I get that it's successful at frustrating you, and that's the point. But you can only go so far with an idea like this before it feels worn out. This episode is between Return of the Raggedy Android and Sibling Tsunami, two of the highest regarded episodes in the show. No hate towards the writers or anyone who helped make this episode, but it wasn't for me. If the person who asked me to review this episode is watching, I'm sorry that I didn't like it. I know it's your favorite episode, but this might actually be my new least favorite. I'm legitimately curious what the general consensus is on this episode. I know some people commented saying it was the worst on our video about the worst episode of My Life as a Teenage Robot. But what do you think? Please tell me your thoughts in the comments below. I've been your narrator, DC. Thank you for watching.
Thanks for watching this video. If you enjoyed it, leave a rating. If you want to reach us, leave a comment. Or check out our other platforms. Links are in the description.
Jenny.